Stop! Police!
Oh, shit.
We have a total of 600 in progress for most of each. Subject is 25 and appears to have shit his pants.
Get back here!
Hey, what's up? This is Community Service with Craig Conant. That's me. And are we rolling?
Yes, sir.
Hey, what's up? Welcome to Community Service Podcast with Craig Conant. I feel small sitting next to you.
You should. That's right.
Sit
I
upright.
work on being gigantic. You know what I'm saying?
Goddamn power lifter over here.
right.
Leo Flowers this is Leo Flowers. He's very funny.
They know who I am.
No,
I need no introduction.
These are my fans. They don't know who you are. He's a very funny comedian, podcast man. You just did a podcast today. I feel a little
did.
betrayed. You can't do one before mine.
Sure, I can. Sure, I'm all about I'm all about doing as much as possible with the time I have left here on this earth.
Nah, man, I'm into sleeping in one podcast today. You double dipped on me, homie.
Nah, man,
You goddamn double dipping. That's fucked up.
Hey, but we're about to have a dope podcast.
Yeah,
though.
we are.
Hey, you guys don't even know what you in for.
Yeah, I already censored 2 of his stories. Like, no, sir. I'm trying to have a career here. I guess it's coming out of your mouth. So.
I know people think because I wear Warby Parkers and Lululemon.
Those are
like,
Lululemons, right?
Yes, sir.
It's Lemon. Everybody knows
Lemons.
that. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I like that. I like that. That like I got like just these nice little, Bill Cosby stories. I said Bill Cosby. I guess it doesn't have the same. It's not as nice anymore.
What are we talking about?
Nah, because you were like you had to censor 2 of my stories.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like people
Yeah.
think I just have like I got like these nice stories, but people have died.
He's killed the man.
People have died.
He's a Vietnam veteran. You can't tell.
I've
looks good.
had served community service though.
Me too.
I had to serve 100 hours of community service for something I didn't even do. Did you do it? Did you do what you had to serve for?
No.
You didn't?
Allegedly.
No, man, I was in high school, and it was a situation where some of my buddies who I used to hang out with when I was younger, I stopped hanging out with them. And I knew, and there was a reason, because they got into gangs and drugs. And Leo Flowers was getting into like football and, sports and women, And they hit me up like after like 2 years and not even talking to them. Yo, man, we in the neighborhood. Why don't you come hang out with us? So I get in the car. We driving along. And then whoop, 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 lights come on. They pull us over. And I'm thinking, they going to let us go. My boys are good. I'm sure they ain't got no dirt on them.
They got dirt.
They got dirt.
always
Everybody got dirt.
They always
When
got
you stop
dirt.
hanging out with people, you stop hanging out with people, right? The cop was like, our light was out on the car. That's why he pulled us over. And then, of course, he ran the plates. Turns out, car was stolen.
That's good friends.
Good friends.
Motherfuckers.
So we go down to the police station, and the dude who the car was stolen from points me out in a lineup as one of the dudes who stole the car from him. I was at work. I worked at Popeyes.
So weren't you exonerated because you had an alibi?
No, because the time that he was carjacked was the time I had just gotten off work. So the timeline between my house and home gave me enough time to carjack him and still make it home. So I had to plead guilty and served 100 hours of community service.
100 hours for a carjacking? That seems like a good sentence to me.
I know it is, right?
Yeah.
He reduced it to joyriding because I don't know why, but you know what saved my life? He was going to send me to juvie, and the night before my court date, I got a letter from Penn State saying that they wanted to recruit me for football. And I took that letter into him, and he goes, because of this letter. Forget the fact that I took in all my report cards and letters from teachers and coaches vying for my character. He was about to send me to juvie, and then I waited. I knew that was my ace card. I waited I go, oh, and I have this letter from Penn State. And he opened it up, and he was like, all right, 100 hours community service. But if I see you in here again, I'm sending you to juvie.
Why did that guy rat you out and you weren't even there?
So here's what happened.
Because of them glasses, that's why.
You know what? It's because of a jacket. So me and my buddies, it was like wintertime, and I was cold, and so my buddy had on a sweater and a jacket, so he gave me his jacket to wear. And the dude who pointed me out recognized the jacket.
Oh shit!
And so he was like, that guy. And that's how Leo Flowers ended up with 100. I had to clean up
You were in the wrong place
a YMCA.
at the right time.
Right.
Is that how it says?
Nah.
No.
No.
Damn.
We're like, nope. So lesson learned is like, you got to be careful who you hanging around with. You know what I'm saying? Like it is. It's
I had to
important.
ditch my old friends too. It's too much activity, man. I remember.
Activity.
Yeah, they always got some. I remember I was on the road before I did comedy. I did this General Motors auto show in motion, and basically I was a high class carny. I would tour the country and set up a car show, work it, tear it down, but we travel, and they hired these different companies, and one was LA based, and this fool just hired hood fools, just gangsters.
Straight thugs, yo.
Thugs.
Tattooed faces.
Not quite that, but like everybody had a record, and then the other company was Canada, like all these white boys, and the other company was Detroit, which was they were a healthy mix of
a healthy bit.
of everything, a little bit of hood, a little
some
bit
arugula,
of
some spinach.
it
Gotcha,
was
gotcha,
some
gotcha.
espinacas, and then but my fucking company was just hood, and we were in Ontario, not Canada, Ontario,
California.
Inland Empire,
Gotcha.
Riverside,
Gotcha,
over there.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And so all of us were from LA, and some of these fools wanted to go to LA and do laundry at our mom's and eat food and visit whatever. And one fool never been to the beach, so we're like, all right, we'll go to LA on this mission. And then on the car ride over there, this fool Mooney, that's his street name. I'm not giving his whole name. So
Hold on, I gotta
can say
cut you
that.
off. Some fool ain't never been to the beach.
Yeah, he was
'Cause
some
how-
North
how-
Carolina.
how old was he?
motherfucker. I don't know. He was poor.
Like 15, 16, like.
Oh no, he was like 25.
God damn, man. There's people out there in their 20s ain't never been to the beach.
He was from he wasn't from North Carolina.
Yo, that's
Maybe he was. I don't know. He was from a place where he was too far from the beach and too poor that he had never went.
so much sadness, dude.
Yeah, it was sad. I'll get to that. That's
Yeah,
a
go
happy,
ahead. Go
that's
back
a
to it.
happy
I
part of the
just
story.
had to be like, yo, idiot. Go ahead, dog.
So we're going to do laundry and shit and go to Hermosa bars, and this fool Mooney just put a Dirty Harry 44 Magnum under the car seat, and we're like, why did you bring that? We're doing laundry. He's like, you never can be too careful. It's like, yo, dude, like, motherfucker.
Hey, I
don't-
agree with your boy, man. I seen some gangster stuff go down in laundry. Every laundromat is just some money
We
laundering.
were going to my mom's house to do laundry in Torrance. This is West Torrance. And yeah, anyways, nothing happened, but it's just like we didn't get pulled over, nothing. But I
Yeah.
remember seeing that gun. I was like, this is unnecessary.
Yeah.
This is absolutely unnecessary. I
Like,
know
Mom
that
has
I
pie.
know you don't have a permit for that gun, sir. Do you have a concealed license to carry or what? I said that all wrong, but you know what I mean.
Yo, anybody that's never been to the beach has some stories, man. That's not a good life, dog.
So then the poor white boy from some landlocked state in this goddamn country, we take him to the beach, and it made me cry because he saw the ocean, and it was like in a movie. This fool just got mesmerized by it, and he started walking towards it, and he just walked in it, and he wasn't in trunks. He was in shorts and shoes, but he just went in, and we're like, what are you doing, dude? It's winter, like it's cold.
He was, you know what, man?
And it made us cry. And then the thug Mooney with 44 Magnum, like, oh.
Everybody was tearing up.
It was
Had
a
a little
crazy
moment.
thing.
The music came in. We had some when I played college football. There were guys who I played in Indiana, and there were guys on a team from Florida who had never seen snow.
Yeah.
And the first time it snowed, we could not get these guys to come inside. They were just out there like touching it, tasting it. They're like, "This is real." Like they literally thought that snow was something that that Hollywood just made up, like it didn't really exist. You know,
Yeah,
and
no,
they were
it's-
just like little kids. They were doing little snow angels. These are grown men with like 8% body fat
Yeah.
and like a bench press 3,000 pounds. And they were just like, you know, just out there in a Disney movie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For hours, dude. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
It's a wonderful thing to witness is someone's
Yes.
just utter joy. Like you can't even like we started a thug with a 44 Magnum started crying over the happiness of another man. He's like, oh shit. He started crying. He's like, wait, I'm a gangster. Bam, bam. It's crazy. It's crazy. It was
We love those gangsters though that have the that could just kill somebody and then like they go tend to mom right after. You know what I'm saying?
Hang
Like,
on.
they
Yeah,
go
yeah.
check on the chili. You know what I'm saying? And make sure her catheter is adjusted appropriately. You know what it's like? But they got like somebody tied up in the basement
Yeah.
hanging from the meat racks.
hold on, mom.
Yeah,
Let
yeah.
me go check on this fool real
And
quick.
then they go like they check on their little daughter to make sure her princess dress is fitting all snug.
I know.
We like that.
Literally fucking que bonita to their daughter, and then they go shank a fool in the basement. Take that.
Have you shot a gun before?
Of course.
You have.
Yeah, a bunch.
A bunch?
Yeah.
Have you shot someone? Have you shot
No.
just all practice?
Just well, I almost shot my friend in the head, but I already told that story. But that was accidental. Kid playing with a gun.
Got you.
Don't play with guns, kids. But I've been to the shooting range a bunch of times.
Oh man.
It's so fun. It's so fun. I don't own a gun. I really want to, but I'm scared I
too.
will accidentally shoot my thigh
Me-
or
oh,
foot.
Yeah, who's that football player that did that? It was
Yeah.
the guy who was in that. Like, how do you accidentally?
It's because
I don't understand.
I don't like gun violence. I'm not promoting. I mean, if you got to defend yourself, do what you got to do. But I like guy shit. I like knives. I like guns. I like survival tools. So
Right,
if I have
right.
a gun, I'll
Crossbows.
be like, oh, Leo, look at this shit.
Yeah,
And I'll
yeah,
be like,
yeah.
catch, I'll be like, hey, throw it back. It's just, I'm a guy's guy. I like tools, and I don't even like fixing shit. Like I see a power
Oh,
drill.
yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah.
I want that
I was
Makita.
saying, yeah.
Give me that Makita. I got one screw to screw in here. I can use a screwdriver I already own, but I want the $400 Makita, top of the line.
Oh man.
Fuck,
I know. I
like
walk in
shit
a
like
Home
that.
Depot and I'm like, yeah, that's
want
right.
everything.
Yeah, I want to build stuff, and then like
And
I
then
don't want to build it.
You're like, how you buy all this shit? You're like, I don't know how to build. Wait, can I bring? Hey Hector, come with me.
I tell you what though,
That's
man,
racist.
that's the best first date right there.
Home Depot.
Is I built a bed from scratch, right? Like I went to Home Depot, I bought the wood.
How's that a date?
I'm telling you how it all went down.
Sounds like a bad date. To me. Hang on, honey. In 8 hours, when I'm sweaty and frustrated, we'll get to dinner.
So like I'm building I'm building a platform bed, and I'm like sanding and all this stuff, and I'm building a headboard, and I got to go downtown to buy the materials for the headboard. So like I meet this girl, and then she's like, "What are you doing today?" I was like, "I got to go downtown to buy some stuff for the headboard." She's like, "Well, I'll go with you." So we go downtown. She helps me pick out the material. Then we drive. This is our first date, right? And then we drive back to my spot. And then like I still had to finish like sanding and putting the lacquer on and all that stuff. So we do all that, and then we build the bed. And then she's
helping you, though.
She's
She's
helping me.
Okay,
She's
that's a good date, then.
participating.
That's a good
yeah,
date.
she's helping me do all
I
of
thought
this.
she's just
right?
watching you. I was
Nah,
like, that's the worst
that's
date I ever
weird.
heard of in my
She's
life.
just like in a corner with popcorn.
Watch me stain this wood real quick. Oh, look at that lather.
And I'm doing it in slow
Look at
motion
that.
with the
Look at
sweat coming down. And
You ever,
like she's on a third floor.
I learned
apartment
this
and
in
I'm
my
outside.
100 hours of community service. They made me stain the beach wood. The beach wood. I
So
don't know.
we do all that, and then
It's a
of
street.
course after you build a bed with someone, like
You gotta
You
go
gotta hook
outside
up.
and eat dinner.
nah,
You get hungry.
you want some
You
Coronas?
get hungry.
Yeah, you get hungry. Yeah, we ate after, but I was like, oh man, I got to build more beds. This is like I had no idea this was such a aphrodisiac.
Doing anything yourself is the ultimate satisfying feeling.
Absolutely.
I built that stool in my bathroom. I built a little 3-drawer cabinet. I loved wood shop. And my counselor, high school counselor, I blame her. This is why I get into drugs. It might have been a dude. I don't even remember. But I was on drugs, man. But I said, I want to be a wood shop teacher because it was the only class I loved. You know, I'd stay late. I don't care. Who doesn't like building shit out of wood? It's fucking
love
dope.
it, man.
And then she goes, yeah, that profession's not really going to exist anymore. They're cutting all extracurricular activities. You should look into something else. And I was like, I don't have anything else. And I was like, oh, marijuana and cocaine, here I come. Cocaine was later when I became a man.
Man, it's just something about just doing shit with your hands. Whether you're cooking, whether you're building something.
I repotted the plants. I fucking love plants. I love plants so much that I've been like finding excuses to get rid of and give away ugly duckling plants that are still healthy and thriving, but I did something off to go with an excuse to buy a new one, you know, or I repot them, and it's getting weird.
I killed a cactus.
That's impossible.
I thought I didn't know anything about plants.
It, right?
Yeah, it was my first plant, and I was like, oh, every plant needs water every day. And I was just like dumping gallons of water into this. And then I just came home, my cactus was all just jammed up. And I was like, what's up, pet cactus?
That's funny. I was like, how did you do that? And literally I did the same thing. I had a cactus. It was one of my first plants. And the soil, I just kept watering it. And one day it just fell over and it broke my heart. I was like, oh, no.
You know what? And that just showed me like there is a such thing as too much love. Like you ever date a girl and she just loves you too much. You're like, this is like you're overwatering the plant. You know what I mean? Like I can't. True. I don't need this much love. I need a little bit of sunshine, a little bit of, and I'm good for like, you know.
There's a balance, and then not enough love. It's like
same thing.
Love me, pet me. Scratch my back. That's why
I stick with the orchids. The orchids, you put an ice cube in an orchid, and it's low maintenance. Then you just walk away. You don't have to water it.
I'm a mister. I get the. I
are.
recycle the alcohol hand sanitizer mist spray bottles from Trader Joe's, and I empty them, rinse them out, and I have one in my closet, and I water my cactuses, bromeliads, and orchids with that because they don't need a lot of water. But you could just get a spray bottle at the 99-cent store.
Hey, yo, talking to your plants is real. It's therapeutic right? Do you have a name for it? You have to name it.
Yeah, bromeliad.
Bromelia.
Bromelia. That's a good name.
That is...
I'll call that one dodgeball.
Name. Bro, wait, what's the name of this plant right here?
Hector,
bromelia. That one over there. You guys can't see it.
Schnickel.
You just making up. All right. You making up stuff.
I guess I will name them.
Yeah, it's like when I was younger, man. I was like a plant, man. What am I gonna do with a plant? But it does add a little something to the place. You know what I'm saying? You like, oh, I gotta go. Because I don't have any kids. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have something.
I can't have pets.
Every man should have something that he's taking care of, whether it's a plant or his car. Like if you got nothing you're taking care of, that's not healthy for you.
No, it's not.
All.
You need something.
Your shoes. You know, I used to make fun of dudes who are like, oh, yeah, they got like 30 pair of shoes and they like get the toothbrush and the baking soda.
I disagree. You can't live your life like that. You can't wear shoes and be like, I'm not walking in the grass today. I got my Pumas on. Fuck that. Get your shoes dirty. And when they get dirty, buy a new pair. That's why I get Vans, $50.
You're not a shoe collector because ain't nobody.
I got 4 pairs
wearing
of
some
Vans,
classic
maybe
Jordans
5.
out in the woods. Come on, son.
I mean, I do respect some dope Jordan, but exactly. What if I accidentally get lost in the woods and my Jordans? That's no way to live. Then I'm running from bears going, hang on, Mr. Bear. You're smudging.
But you'll get away because you're wearing Jordans.
I'll get away because I'm wearing Vans.
I've seen people hiking in Ugg boots.
Are those it's not hiking shoes, right?
Nah, man. You don't know what Ugg boots are?
I know what Ugg boots are, but
they don't belong outdoors. You know, Ugg boots are for like from the apartment to like the end of the driveway. That's it. You know what I mean? Or to go get coffee. That's all Ugg boots are for.
To stay warm.
I was up in Big Bear and there's this group of charlatans. I don't know what to call them.
What's a charlatan?
I don't. It's somebody who's just making up stuff. Like they claim that their potion is, gonna make you successful or beautiful or strong, but it's just all lies.
I like
half-truths.
charlatans.
You like charlatans?
Hey, false hope can be real
false hope is real hope, son.
Sometimes
that
it
placebo
manifests.
effect.
Oh, it works.
But this girl, she was wearing Ugg boots, and she was about to go hike like some boulders, and I wanted to be like, "Yo, you can't do that in Ugg. You got no ankle support, no, there's no support." Sure enough, I'm coming back from the hike, ambulance, cops, and I go, "Yo, what happened?" They like, some girl was hiking in Ugg boots and fucking fell 15 feet.
Ooh.
She lived.
She's broke.
She lived, but I don't know what her quality of living is after you fall 15 feet. You know what I mean?
Tough break.
Yes, sir.
Hey, survival of the fittest.
Out here.
Let's get back to real talk. Plants. Because I forgot. I've been I'm obsessed with them, as you could tell. I have them everywhere. But I've been getting comedians and taking them to get their first plant. And I took my buddy Nate Hurd. You know Nate Hurd? Hilarious.
Yeah,
Nate
yeah,
Hurd.
yeah, yeah.
I took him to Mickey's, Haggerty's on
Right.
Fountain and La Brea there.
Yes, sir.
And he went to town. He texted me like the next day. He's like, I can't stop talking to my plants. And I was like, I told you. I fucking told you. Because when you're a comic and you're busy and you're on the road and you're working and you're doing this and that, you can't have pets. You can, but it's just much responsibility, and then you need somebody. It's like that's why when anybody has a kid, I'm like, well, they're not gonna make it anymore. You have to. I mean, there's always the exception to the rule. But if you're already successful, for sure, sprout out kids. But if you're not there
Sprout
yet,
out kids. How in the plants are you? Sprout out kids? Who says that?
sprout them out.
But you're right, because I was telling you, even when I go on the road, I will buy, like, if I'm somewhere for a week, like I do Vegas, and I'm usually there like Sunday until the following Monday, and I'll get an orchid, just to put in the room, man, just to have something when you come back, it feels like home,
Yeah.
I would put pictures of my family up if I had pictures of my family, but
That's a good idea.
You gotta add a little home.
Looks
to,
like
to the hotel
Bromelia's
room.
going on the road with me.
You know what? I don't know, but you know what I do is I buy the plant and then I give it away to like either the housekeeper or somebody at the hotel. Like I don't want to travel with it. It's just for that week.
I'll be the weirdo carrying an orchid through
Yeah,
airport
just-
security. Hey, this is my therapy orchid.
Yeah, right. Your emotional orchid.
My emotional orchid petunia. It helps me with the stress of flying in an Airbus. They're
Oh,
going
my
down.
God.
Oh, man.
Now I'm sure like that would look so weird that people would try to unpot your plant to make sure you didn't have any drugs or. I mean, that would be a cool place to store.
There's no
some stuff.
heroin in this soil.
Right.
Oh, there is. Oh, how'd that get there? Must have sold it that way to me. I didn't do that.
What's the craziest thing you've tried? Like, what would you travel with? What do you travel with? To like, is there that thing? Like, I gotta have my neck pillow. I got my Bose speaker.
weird-
I got my.
I don't have
I got a
anything.
foam roller. Because the muscles get tight.
I don't have anything weird anymore. I mean, I used to travel with weed, but that was when I was a stoner. Vitamins. I got nothing
Vitamins.
now. I'm an old lady
You're
now.
an old lady. But that's good. That
Maybe
means like
a-
you're independent now. Like
Yeah.
you're like you don't need anything. Like you're like 0 dark 30. Like you're a Navy SEAL. Get in, get out.
I don't
you know
need
what I'm saying?
anything.
You keep it light.
I mean, I take a Bose speaker. It's nice to hear some music.
Yes.
in
You
your
got
hotel.
me into the Bose speaker, actually.
Nice.
Remember that? You were like, yo, you got to get the Bose speaker, man. The ladies like the sound and the music. And then I went
They
out.
do. Who doesn't
got that
like a little
Bose.
music?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we did Arizona together. That was so fun.
Oh, man. Oh, especially, you had a great time.
Yeah.
We got to hit the road again, man. It's crazy, like, because you think about your career and like how it's changed. When I first moved out here, I did a porn.
What?
That was my first gig, because when you live in LA, you don't know anything, and so like I hired this guy to be my manager, and he's like, yeah, I'm your agent manager. And I was like, this is great, because anybody who says they want to represent you, just sign on. You don't know the level of management. And the first gig he sends me on is a Playboy After Hours special. So I'm like, oh, this is going to be dope, man. I'm going to be at the mansion, like my first gig. And I'm thinking like Playmates just running around. Yo, this was at a warehouse in the Valley. And I didn't know much about Hollywood, but
Wait, that's like softcore erotica, or you did like porn?
You about to find out.
Oh, Jesus
As
Christ.
soon, tell me if we need to edit this, all right?
I mean, I'm not saying it, so it can stay.
I'll pull up to this warehouse, right? And as soon as I pull up, the back door kicks open. Now, this is all true, right? And you'll find out how true it is by the end. The back door kicks open, and this woman in a robe, and she has blonde hair, is holding a script, and she's like, I hate reading lines. I just want to suck dick. And I'm in my car, and I'm like, I think I have the wrong address.
Yeah.
And I call my manager, and he's like, no, this is the right address. So I go in. It's a full blown porn because like the dude is in a corner, like getting himself ready, and girls are walking around naked, and the director's like, look, Leo, like it's a bank robbery scene. We just need you to be a customer at the bank. So you're just gonna stand there in line. That's all we got you doing. And then he goes, I'm standing there, and it's me and two other guys who were like extras. And he goes, action. So three female bank robbers walk in. Two start sucking the dick of the guy standing next to me. And then the other one starts banging the other security guy on my right side. And the director's like, act natural. And I was like, yeah, because every time I go to a bank, this happens. You know what I'm saying? and so what I didn't know is when you do a porn, because I didn't know I was doing a porn, you don't give your real name on the paperwork. And so in the credits, you'll see like hot chocolate, cinnamon, and then Leo Flowers. You think the story stops there. That's where the story should end, right? And I was on a porn, whatever. Cut to 2 years later. I'm still here in LA. I get a phone call from one of my good friends from college, right? And he's like, yo, Leo, how's the business going? And I'm like, it's going great, man. He's like, yeah, so I'm jerking off to this porn and your face popped up. And I was like, oh man, did I mess up your nut? He's like, no, I still came. But
Yeah.
and that was a true story. Like, and the craziest part was he was that dude in college who like had a huge porn collection. So it didn't surprise me when 2 years later he called me talking about he's jerking off to a porn and I'm in that. It was called The Bank Heist.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
I know, right? I think it was a second one. I don't remember if it was the first or second one.
It was,
But,
it was the eighth one. Bank Heist 8.
The Bank Heist,
the largest
dog.
franchise
But
besides
that was
Fast and Furious.
that was my first gig.
Dude, that's crazy.
In LA.
Can you imagine that? Just watching porn and be like, Leo?
Right. And I'm standing there just.
He was like, you didn't ruin my time, but I had a lot of questions going in my head. That's so crazy.
It's crazy. That's the thing. People, you move out here and there's just not a handbook for how to navigate. Because any other job industry is going to be on an up and up. Somebody hires you, they are who they say they are, and they're going to do what they say they're going to do. Here, and this is like before the internet, so there was no way of vetting.
My first manager, I don't have a manager now, and it's because of this first manager, but he's like, he saw me do stand-up, and he's like, oh, you're really funny. I want to produce a special with you. And so, of course, I was like, yeah, that sounds amazing. He's like, we'll sell to Comedy Central, this and that. I was like, yeah, I would love that very much so. Thank you, sir. And I was pretty green, but I had some material. Like, I could pull off 30. I may not have been proud of it. I may have needed somebody to feed me my own jokes, but I had 30,
Right.
Not the best 30. And so I was like, yeah, I'll do it. Let's do this shit. And then cut to just like as it progresses and we're talking and he's recording me with like some cheap, not like this camera, but like the one your dad has with the VHS tape.
Oh man, where you put the hand in and it's like 3,000 pounds.
And this was just 3-4 years ago, So I was like, I don't know about the quality of this.
Right.
This isn't going the direction I thought.
No
it was
lighting.
And then on top of that, as we get closer to like organizing the shoot date, he's like, okay, what I'm going to need from you, I'm going to need you to select the venue, and I'm going to need you to fill it out, and I'm going to need you to do a Kickstarter to fund it. And I was like, what? You mean I have to do everything and you own it and make the money? And even green and hungry and starving to get anything in this business, I was like, nah, man, I'm good. Like, I'll just produce my own special, record it with my iPhone, and it'll look better than what you're about to do.
Right.
And it fizzled out, nothing happened, and I was just like, since then, although there's been no offers, but I was like, I'm gonna be hesitant with my new manager. Cut to 4 or 5 years later, the only managers I have are ex-managers at Trader Joe's. You know.
Hey, man.
It's all good. I ain't complaining.
Right.
I'll get it when it comes.
Because some people get it too early.
Yeah,
And then
I've
that
seen
becomes it becomes this horrible horror show because you're in this contract and then they're trying to get all your money. I've signed with people who are like, they're like, we get 10% of whatever you make. And then sometimes some gigs I would make like $200, and I'm like, you want $20? Like that doesn't.
That's a big deal. To me.
That's a big deal. Like that's my
I need
gas.
that
money.
$20.
They're like, we want all of it, from the merch sales to everything. So it's better to
That's
find the
crazy
right
to me.
management than just to sign with somebody because you think you need it.
I was told that by Bobby Lee because this was maybe a year ago, and I have. By that time, I accumulated some body of work, and I've done some things, but I was still at Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
I had no representation. I had no fan base. I mean, a little baby, like 2,000 people. But that sounds like a lot, but it's not in stand-up. But anyways, and I was just like, hey, man, like, I could use some help getting some reps. And he's like, I could give you names and help you out. But he's like, nothing comes better than letting it sounds crazy, but letting it happen organically, letting somebody see you and then want to manage you and I love this guy. I'm on this team.
Right.
He's like, if I get you in rooms, like they're gonna do it as a favor for me. And and he was right though, because I've had friends who get big managers from favors from big famous headliners and shit. And they represent all the big dogs, but then they are on the roster of said manager, big dog manager, whatever, but they're on the bottom of the roster, and they don't get shit out of it. I'd rather have a dude in the mailroom. I don't give a fuck. Give me the assistant. Give me the mid-level guy.
Give me somebody who believes in me, because
That's it.
there's nothing more important than someone, because somebody who believes in you will fight for you, and they will sell you, and they will talk about you with like passion and enthusiasm, and they will do things for you. They will think outside the box for you versus someone who is just
might
like been
drop your name
past
one
your
time
name,
in passing, and be like,
there's-
you don't want them? Oh, I got 7 other millionaire clients that I got. You know what I mean? You're just laugh. And he was right, and I didn't want to hear what he had to say that day because I was so hungry and just wanted shit.
Yeah.
But he was right, and it's true.
That's how I even approach dating, man. It's like instead of I had one of my buddies. He's always chasing women. I'm like, the women who just are drawn and attracted into your sphere, into your circle, your universe. Like those are the women who are like, that's the stuff that just is like gonna last, and
you could form a real bond and
absolutely,
build a
man,
relationship as opposed to just chase.
Right.
Because
even if you get in a relationship with that girl, you're still gonna feel like you're working to keep her. Like, you know what I'm saying? Everything's gonna feel like work versus you guys moving in the same direction together. It's tough, man.
Let's talk about plants. No.
Yeah.
No more plant talk.
Yeah, but the whole purpose of your podcast, right, is like about stuff you've been through and lessons you've learned and stuff like that. I have 6 bulging discs in my neck.
God damn.
I played college football.
Oh.
And they fused my 3 through 5 together through the front. They went through the front of my neck. And it was crazy because I was a defensive tackle. I was 275 pounds. And my 4th year, I had 5 years because I redshirted. My 4th year, it was like towards it was like the last game of the season. I woke up paralyzed that morning. It was a
Oh,
day after the
shit.
game. We had a game Saturday, and then they pulled me out the game because I had a double stinger. I never had one of those. So usually you get one stinger, that numbness that goes down your left side. I had a double stinger, which means I had it going down both arms. And they're like, you got to pull you out the game. And then the next morning I woke up and I fucking, for like what felt like days, hours, years, could not move at all. But my eyes were open. And I was like, holy shit, like a little tear was like welling. I was like, oh, is this my life? Is this me for the rest of my life? I'm like 21 at the time. This is me at 275. I'm benching like 410. I'm leg pressing over 1,000. And now
I used to be able
can't
to do that.
move. You know what I'm saying? And then somehow, like, I was able to start moving. I go to the doctor. He's like, your neck's all jacked up. We got to do surgery. I'm like, you're not doing surgery on Leo Flowers, And then he goes, all right, take your chances. Sure enough, cut to, I'm like 33 or 34. And I'm at Gold's Gym. And at the time when I was in college, the doctor was like, you can't lift weights, no more sports. And I was like, what? Man, I'm 21. Like, there's no way I'm just going to sit still for the rest of my life. Are you kidding me? And so when I was at Gold's Gym working out, I remember I was doing reverse tricep dips on the bench. And I felt this thing in my neck. And I remember thinking, I'm going to wake up paralyzed tomorrow. Because I remembered the feeling from the first time it happened the day before. And sure enough, the next morning, I woke up paralyzed twice. And so that time I was like, and then I never regained my strength after that time. So, and so it was to the point where like I couldn't lift anything over 5 pounds, right? And so I go to the doctor and he's like, we have to do surgery now. Like it's to a point where it's only going to get progressively worse. So they fused my seat. They went in through the front of my neck. Gabriel Hunt at Cedars-Sinai, a black dude, saved my life. And it was crazy. I was terrified to go into the surgery. Obviously, I'm 30. I'm still young. I'm still, I'm strong, whatever. And they're like about to anesthetize me or whatever, and I'm laying there and I'm crying. I'm like I don't want to do like, because he's like, it could go south, but he's like, but chances are you'll be fine. Because Gabriel Hunt's like the best in the world, right? Yeah.
Cheer up, Charlie.
So I'm laying there and I'm bawling my eye. I'm like, I don't know, and they're like, oh, we already got it. And then his I don't know if she was his assistant or who she was. This gorgeous Armenian, she was like Kim Kardashian times 10.
Yeah.
Dude, as soon as I saw her, I was like, yeah, I'm ready. I was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm like,
as soon as you saw her, you're like, who poured water on my eye?
Yo, she was so gorgeous, dog. I was like, yo, I'm good, man. Yeah, just will me in, And so had
it's amazing
surgery,
what a
man.
beautiful woman will do to a man.
Amazing, dude.
We'll be we'll just stop. We'll be talking about some heavy shit. Yo, my uncle's got cancer.
Yeah.
You're like, he's like, enough about him. Hey, wait, how are you doing?
Oh man,
They just
never
stop
forget. She was gorgeous, and then I remember my disappointment because then she was talking, and I saw the wedding ring. So then I went back to disappointment, and by that time the anesthesia kicked in. I was like, oh, dude. But no, man. But you know what? It taught me that whole experience taught me a couple things. One, I had went to 5 doctors before that about my neck surgery, and they were all like, yo, you're gonna be in bed for 3 months, and we're gonna go through the back of your neck, and you're gonna be like 25% disabled or something. And I refuse to accept that because I'm an athlete. Like there's like I don't understand laying in bed for 3 months. And finally, I was doing a show in Santa Monica, and I was talking about having to have the neck surgery. And these 2 doctors after the show were like, you have to go see Gabriel Hunt. He's the best in the country. He's the best in the world. And I go see this guy, and he's like, you're gonna walk out of surgery.
Did
you know what I mean?
Insurance? Was Gabriel under your plan?
Yeah.
What?
So what was crazy is I didn't have insurance. So here's how I played with the system. Because I had I'm a comedian. Like I don't have insurance. So I went to the county hospital to have all my X-rays done because you get it done there. It's like $50 or whatever.
Yeah.
So they did the MRI, they did all the scans. It was super cheap, right? And then I took that to Gabriel Hunt and was like, look, I already did all this stuff. And then I bought. This was a time where you could buy insurance at any time. Like now, you can't buy insurance whenever you want. You have to buy it in certain windows. But it's because of guys like me who were like, buy the insurance and then get this surgery approved. And then after I had the surgery, I would cancel the insurance.
Yeah.
So Leo Flowers
system.
making changes. But I mean, and that bill was still astronomical. Like a neck surgery, like you're paying like I can't even tell you the number.
Yeah.
It was like so many bills coming through. But it taught me like don't accept no as an answer and don't accept, keep fighting until you get the answer you want to hear. You know what I'm saying? Because those first 5 guys were like, you're going to be laying in bed for 5 months. I was like, I don't lay in bed. Like I move, man. Like
I wear UGG boots when I
hike.
hike.
That's right.
Let me out of this shit. Boots with the fur. Here I come,
man. So when
Damn, that's
he was
crazy.
like, "Yo, we'll have you walking out of surgery," and that's exactly what I did. And I was like, "That dude saved my life, man." So, it's but I still have some
You know
numbness.
how many people love that guy? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's the next level up. I
Right?
love you.
Yeah, man. That's like, I think about it. I was like, and that's why I was like, I got to pay these bills back because it's like he gave me life. So for me not to pay the bills like would be like a slap in the face to the work.
That's one bill I would.
Absolutely.
I would like. You can take my
Absolutely.
car. I'm gonna pay him first.
Absolutely.
He saved my name.
And then, of course, right after that, I get into a car accident, rear-ended.
Damn.
Yeah, man. My Uber driver fell asleep. Leaving the improv. Dude, I just like.
That's why I take Lyft.
So it's like, it's 10 o'clock at night. And I Ubered to the improv because I was tired. I was like, man, I don't want to be drowsy and driving. So I'm taking the safety precautions as you should. So I Ubered to the improv and then I'm Ubering back. It's an Uber pool because I'm not making much money at this time. I'm sitting in the front. There's an old Mexican lady sitting in the back and we're driving on the 405 freeway. So we're on a freeway, 80 miles per hour, 10 o'clock at night. And there's a point during the drive where I'm like, it's too quiet. Like, like there's just an eerie thing. Like there's quiet, but then there's there's something going on quiet. Like I used to counsel inmates in prisons, and that was the worst kind of quiet because you knew like a riot was about to break out. So, but when I realize it's too quiet, I look at my driver, and his head is against the glass.
Oh,
he's out, like he's just done. Now, luckily, crazy enough, I've been in about 8 car accidents up to this point. None of them been my fault. Been like my uncle.
Eight accidents, and none of them have been your fault.
My insurance is insurance is like $100 a month. Like that's how it's never been my fault, right?
Getting arrested was never my fault either, huh? Not once.
I take responsibility for I should have stuck to my guns of not hanging out with those guys. But no, my uncle he was drunk all the time, and I was always with my uncle, and he would get drunk and pass out, and we get into all these crazy car accidents. So
that's crazy how that was just acceptable.
Yeah, I know, right? It's
how
like
it was
more than
back
once,
then.
right? So
my uncle has 6 DUIs. And everyone's like, how is he not in prison? I was like, pre-92.
Yeah,
that's
right. That's
pre-1992.
right. Yeah, it was just a thing, right? Nobody cared. Yeah. It's like, just, drink some water. You'll be all right, you kid. And so he falls asleep. And so and now the highway's about to turn and the car's still going straight. And so I gently, so to me, this is all slow motion is my point. Like, I'm not like, I just go, all right, grab the wheel. His foot's still on the pedal. And I'm steering us around the corner, but also I got to wake him up. But, I do the whole little hey, because I didn't want to be like, hey, and then he and then we was out. So I do the hey, and he goes, and he fucking still spins us out, and now we're spinning around on the 405 freeway, and luckily it was like 10 o'clock at night, so there were no cars around us at this time, and we don't hit anything. We just end up like on this grassy median, like all the stars lined up, and now it was really quiet in the Uber. And nobody says anything, especially the old Mexican maid, because I think she was illegal. So she was just like holding on her cross, you know. And he starts the car back up, and he just takes me home. And right? Because I'm like, he's awake now. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to worry about this dude falling asleep. Next day, of course, like I send Uber like a message like, yo, this dude fell asleep. I don't know what happened, blah, blah, blah. They don't respond. 2 days go by, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, this dude could still be out there on the street, and I don't know why he fell asleep. I don't know if it was drugs, if he was, so I don't know. Finally, I send out a tweet, and I go, yo, Uber drivers be falling asleep. Is this how y'all doing business? In 5 minutes, they respond back to me, and they're like, oh, Mr. Flowers, sorry to hear about that. We have somebody contact you immediately. An insurance guy from Uber calls me up, and he's like, we could handle this one of two ways. We could either pay for your medical bills, which I didn't have any, or you give us a number and we'll cut you a check for that. And I was like, $5,000? He said, done. And I was like, damn it. It's like, God damn it. Like
$50K, motherfucker.
Look, I was so happy to just be alive and be healthy and not have my neck more jacked up.
You should have said, hang on, let me call my lawyer.
But then as soon as he said done so fast, that's when I kicked myself. Like if he had been like, oh, let me go talk to the manager, come back, then I would have felt good about SAS. But he was like, done. And I was like, God damn it, are you kidding me? Yeah, everybody I talked to was like, oh my God, you could retire.
You made me remember a story. It was you're bringing up all the old car show stories, but I was doing the Auto Show in Motion car tour, and we're in San Diego, so of course it's me and a bunch of thugs. So we go to Mexico and go over the border to TJ, and we get fucked up, you know. And we're driving back, and it was like a scene from a movie. It was like the Chevy Chase vacation movie where I'm shotgun, I'm in the front seat, passenger side, and I'm asleep, and then there's four of us, and we're in this. It's like a Cadillac or something, just like maybe like a Crown Vic, but like a big comfortable car. Yeah. I'm asleep. The dude's in the back asleep. This is after partying all night, and TJ getting wasted, and then same shit. It was just too quiet. It was too quiet, and I was just and then I heard the boom 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 boom. You know,
yeah.
And then I wake up and I look over at the driver, and this fool's like this, and then there's no one on the roads. It's like 3-4 a.m. You know, and then that fool. Thank God he didn't freak out, but he just literally went like this, and then he just straightens it out. I'm like, that's not funny, fool. What are you doing? We're gonna fucking die, man. And nothing happened. We just literally we're just going like this on the freeway.
Yeah.
And then he just literally laughed. They called me Shaggy. And he goes, fuck Shaggy. You know, he just talks like an essay and just straightens it out. And then I'm just like, now I'm wired, and this fool's just laughing high. And I'm like, dude, look alive out there, you know?
Yeah, it's like you get in a car now, like you're like turning the music all the way up, rolling the windows down. He throws blowing cocaine in her face.
He throws a gun in my lap. Hold that, Shaggy. We about to. No, I don't know if Mooney was on that trip. That was a different trip, but I'll never forget that shit. God damn.
Oh, those divots have saved my life. Because, you know, especially doing stand-up, like, sometimes you have to, you finish a gig at, like, 10, 11 at night, and then you have to drive to the other gig immediately right after the show because it's, like, another 15 hours away or whatever, like those triple runs and stuff like that. So, like, you're in a car with, you know, all the caffeine drinks and window down, music blasting. But sometimes it's not enough. You just
activity. You know what helps?
Sleep,
you know what helps?
Pumpkin seeds.
Pumpkin seeds. Sunflower. The activity.
Sunflowers. Yes.
Of doing something.
Dude.
Well, pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds will work better than a goddamn Red Bull.
Absolutely.
Just the
So true.
activity.
Yep.
Otherwise, you're gonna die.
And you know what I found out also? Audiobooks. Because if you play music after a while just starts to the beat, it becomes actually soothing. But an audiobook, because you have to pay attention to the characters and plot and things like, it keeps your brain more engaged.
I believe that because I've almost fell asleep to System of a Down, and I'm
Yeah.
just full blast AC on. It's time to build a prison for you and me to live in, and I'm like, this is nice.
Oh
This
man,
is
yeah.
beautiful.
What was
melody.
that? Demons. God, what was that book? There's like 3 of them. Lost Symbol, Demons and Gods, something. Da Vinci Code.
Yeah.
Da Vinci Code.
I even knew
dude,
that
I
one.
drove from L.A. to Boston and back, and that book saved my life, dude. It kept me awake.
I'm more a Henry and Ribsy kind of guy.
What was
like
that?
Beverly Cleary. I don't know. It's the
What
only
is that?
book I ever
Those
read. I was
kids-
9
was that
years
from
old.
middle school?
This kid's book. Got any Beverly Cleary?
Those what were those like murder mysteries? What were those?
No, that was just a kid who liked firecrackers and fishing and delivering the paper.
hilarious.
I like
dude.
shit like that.
Dude, I just started last night reading Moby Dick.
I don't read.
You don't?
No.
Come on, dude. You read something. Audiobooks?
I have the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People
Hilarious.
on
hilarious.
audiobook CD.
Is buying
in
a
my car.
plant, is that one of the habits?
I got to read more. You're right.
No, you know what?
It's good for your brain.
Actually, I had
I can't even talk that good.
my
I
I
fuck
can't
up
even
my
speak
words.
that well, yeah.
I fuck up my words so much. Fuck speaking grammatically correct.
Yeah.
How about just saying the correct word once in a while? I said Encyclopedia Britannica. I've said Pacific Ocean instead of Pacific Ocean. I'll just butcher words. I just literally mash them up. And not on purpose, and not and people are think it's in character, and most of the time I put my head down, I'm like, damn it, I feel bad about
Again.
it. God, I know that word is bad.
But it doesn't matter how much you read, because you're at some point there's always going to be a word where you're trying to remember, and you're like, how do I've read a million books, and I still get anxiety over saying library. I'm always afraid
Library.
I'm going to say I'm always like library.
Yeah.
How do you say that? I hate saying that word. I don't care.
It's library, you dumb
Is it library? It's weird that it's librarian, but it's not. But it's library. Is it?
There's an
how do you
R
say
in
it?
there.
Am I wrong?
Library.
Yeah.
You say library?
Yeah.
Is that the correct pronunciation?
I believe so.
See, and look, I read Moby
I think
Dick.
you-
See, I read too much. You read too little.
You need to
Yeah,
stop
yeah,
reading.
yeah.
Is what I think you need to do.
I
Library.
got to turn the book the other way. I'm holding it upside down.
I got some fresh libraries.
Wait, do you have a shit story?
I do. I was gonna read this one. I got emailed to me.
While you're pulling that up, so here's my shit story. Is I used to work at this 24-hour internet cafe, and we sold scones, and I had never had scones before.
They're so good. My
They're
mom makes the best scones.
Great scones are so good. It's scones are either amazing or the worst thing. They're dry. They're just
Trader
like
Joe's
hockey
blueberry
pucks.
scones are
Really?
fire.
Are they good? I'm
Oh
gonna
my
get some
god,
right after this.
Loganberry, a very close second. The orange cranberry, the kids one with the sugar glaze, those are good too. But the sugar's a bit much in my opinion.
I just became a scone
$2.99.
review. I love it. But and I had never had scones, and I know that I'm a little lactose intolerant, So I bite into the scone because we had just gotten them in. I was like, oh, these are amazing, and they were so good that I ate 3 or 4 of them, and then I drank a large latte or whatever, and I'm driving home, and now I only lived 2 or 3 miles from work, and immediately within the first 2 minutes of the drive, I get the bubble guts. My stomach is just loud and violently, it's
I
painful.
always envision Dumb and Dumber Jeff Daniels on the way when when he's driving, he goes, and Harry's just laughing on the motorcycle, or Lloyd. Remember that scene?
No, I don't.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not. A.
You're not
I'm
a Dumb and
big-
Dumber
no,
fan?
Man. No, man.
You gotta go.
I do. I have to watch it.
It's
All
a
of them.
No,
I mean, there's
There's
more
only
than one, right?
Well, there's 3 of them, but there's only one that you must watch. And
The
it's
first
the OG original, and it is so fucking funny. Anyway, there's a diarrhea scene where his buddy pours X-Lax in his coffee because he's going on a date with the girl that he loves. And then on the car ride over there, just like that, the bubble guts happen. And every time it's happened to me or in a story, I just envision that scene from that movie. And then him just diarrheaing all over in that broken toilet and that final fart. There's a final fart in this movie.
You said
that-
fart.
Fart. What did I
A
say?
final fart.
The final fart after his big old explosive diarrhea where it goes, and I fucking lose my oxygen every time I hear that, because he goes like this. He goes, because he laughs at his own fart, and then the girl that the date, Mary Swanson, at her house, she goes,
Yeah.
Harry, I hope you're not using the toilet. It's broken. And it's just, and he's like this, and it, and he's like, no, I was just shaving. Anyways, I just explained that whole scene to you, and you need. I
need to
hate it when
watch it.
people say you
I
need to
need-
watch something,
but I need
like
to
you know,
watch
like
it.
Martin Scorsese and Goodfellas, like that's a must see movie.
Right. Oh,
This is
yeah.
a must see
Oh, yeah.
movie in the comedy world, and I believe it's one of very, very few comedies that are in the list of AFI's top 100 movies of all time.
Really?
Yeah, it's in there.
Well,
Dumb
I'm
and
sure
Dumber.
I've seen it, but I probably saw it so long ago. Like what? And when did that movie? When was that movie released?
Maybe 94.
Oh,
something like that.
way
Yeah.
back in the day, man. But black people, we really ain't sitting around Dumb and Dumber like that. Our movie is Friday. That's the movie.
Well, I
I
watched
watched
that
that a
every
million
year, too,
times.
man.
But Dumb and
Come on,
Dumber
man.
one time,
Bye, Felicia.
Bye,
Let's
Felicia.
quote that movie.
Oh,
Every
man.
time I come
Every
to the
time
kitchen,
you in the kitchen,
in
eat
the
up all the
goddamn
food,
refrigerator.
all the hog moss.
I want some of them pig feet.
Now, didn't I tell you to take out the trash?
Come in
that
here.
was one of my favorites.
Come here, I got something to tell you. Boom. How many turds does that fucker lay?
man.
He's like, I
20.
smell your shit for 22 goddamn years. You can smell mine for 5 goddamn
You
minutes.
know what?
Get in here.
I think he only laid one. I think all of
there
them were
was
those
multiple
anticipatory turds, and then nothing. Just
Hide your shit, Debo's coming up. I'm just gonna tuck mine in. I'm gonna tuck mine in. You see what he did? The reds at? Yeah.
so.
Dumb and Dumber is. I know
I'll watch
both.
it.
I'm not
I'll
black.
watch
What's
it.
your problem,
I'll
sir?
watch it. Yeah, but let me ask you this though: which one have you watched more of though?
Probably equal. Probably Friday. I'm half Mexican.
There you go. See, that's the thing.
Half
So
my
you're
family
right,
grew up
half
in the
and half.
hood.
There you go. That's
Friday
why.
was standard. That shit was always playing.
So I'm driving home with the bubble guts, and there's a point where I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna make it, and I don't have a parking garage, and it's one of those street cleaning days, so there's no parking available. Right? I'm driving, and so I had to park 4 blocks from my house. Like that's how bad the parking was for the situation, and
What perfect timing.
I open the door.
Fucking street sweep.
And I'm like, I'm not gonna make it to the house. So I'll pull my pants down and I'm right there on the sidewalk. And I pull the door open, and I mean, it was a cascade waterfall. I don't even know how to describe it. It wasn't like logs. It was just this.
If you shit your
was
pants,
an explosion.
it's never a log.
No, it's never a log.
Never a log.
It's an explosion. And I'm
Nobody ever
squatting down.
shit a log.
Behind my car door, like that's gonna protect, that only protects one angle. You know what I mean? And as I'm squatting down, right, this is on the street, and I'm just letting out this explosion. I look up and I realize there's a dude in front of me washing his car. He's right there. Like I was in such pain. And I was so like, oh, whatever. I didn't even see this dude. Like I'm squatting down, and this dude just on the windows, just like this happens all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like didn't even nothing.
Did he lock eye contact?
Nah, man. He was just going about his business. You know what I'm
say,
saying?
hey, can I borrow that bucket of water?
He didn't want no parts of what was happening behind my car door. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, and then the worst part was like the next day when I had to come back to my car because that was still there by the car, and the smell like a block away. I
would've
there's
took
just flies just all over the place.
I would've
It
took
was
an Uber
horrible,
the next
dude.
day. I'm
The
a Uber
next day
today.
was I'll never forget that, man. It wasn't a good sight, dude.
It's a walk of shame.
Oh, for sure. Especially the, walking from my car to my apartment because I didn't have anything to wipe with.
Yeah.
So that wasn't, that's 4 blocks of just thinking about your
You
life.
could always take off your
decisions.
underwear, wipe with it, and throw it away. But if they're expensive, cute me undies, then
I'm
maybe
not. That mean, but I would have to take my pant like that. That's too much vulnerability.
That's why you always carry
already.
a knife. You cut the underwear off. Always thinking.
Oh, but I definitely keep wet wipes in the car now. Just of course, it hasn't happened.
I have a
since
roll
then.
of toilet paper.
Do you really?
Yeah.
No, man, you gotta go with the wet wipes, dude. I mean, if you out
They
there
get
in the
dry
streets,
after time.
nah, man, you know what you do? You put them in a Ziploc bag. They stay. I know people hate this
I have
word,
a rag.
moist forever.
I have a rag and toilet paper.
Oh wow! Like how often is it that you got backup?
I
huh?
kind of stopped shitting my pants. It's mainly sharts. And I just take my underwear off, splash my booty in the sink, and call it a day,
I want the kind of wealth where I have. Was it called a bidet?
Bidet.
Or the why? How do you say it?
Bidet.
Bidet.
I have one.
I read. He does. See, this is.
It's the best.
Yeah, it is.
I uninstalled mine because
What?
Well, did I tell that story yet? The uninstallation?
Yeah.
Where it sprayed everywhere?
Yeah.
Damn. Anyways, I uninstalled mine because the property managers were coming to look at my apartment, and I have the cheapest rent in LA, and I don't want to give them one shred of anything to use against me.
Right.
So I uninstalled it, and my building's old, so the shutoff valve isn't 100%. So it made this fire extinguisher fucking hose. Just it's a copper, a metal tube, just going spraying water. Anyways, I have not reinstalled it because it's going to spray water everywhere, and it's this big thing. So I'm back on booty wipes. But bidets are the best thing. Go get them. Amazon,
yes.
$24.99 for the Charlie Cheapo. But just make sure it's you have a water shutoff valve. But I forgot to tell this story, and I remembered it. I was like, what the fuck? I forgot we were talking about just essays and all my hood friends and shit. And I just remember... This is unorganic now, but I thought it was funny. Hey, did I tell the story where I tried to steal a bucket of Coronas?
A bucket.
Dude, so I used to get... That's what I mean. I used to get shit-faced. As we all know, I'm sober for a reason. And I was always kind of broke, but I was inventive about...
Resourceful. Yeah. See, that's where the reading comes in.
Yeah. So I used to take my dates to bars where smoking was outside, and you could and people would the security would be like, you can't take your drink outside, set it here on this drink table and go outside to smoke.
Right.
So I would go steal drinks from that table. And I used to steal drinks all the time. I would wait till you buy a round of drinks for your people and you'd be passing them out. And when you went like this, I'd snag one, run left. Anyways, one night I was desperate and extra drunk and extra crazy, and there's these table of fucking essays, and I mean like thick mustaches, fucking OG Pendleton flannels. They shop at Greenspans and shit, and they I come up with this idea. I'm gonna trip and fall and land on their bucket of Coronas, and then just hug it and then walk away. You know how big a fucking bucket is? There's no hiding that. And I was with these fools, the Moonies and shit. And I'm like, well, they got guns, so I'm just going to steal a bucket of Corona. I got to prove my stripes, too. I got
Right.
But this is my level of crime. Anyways, so I was like, I got to be a man and jack this shit. And then I'll share and we'll party and get this bucket of Coronas. And, of course, they... catch me immediately because I bump into their table and hug a bucket of Corona, which is the centerpiece and half the table. And they grab me and they do and then they see me with the Coronas, but it's like laughable. They're like, "What are you doing?" I was like, I don't even know what I said to them, but it made them laugh. And they're laughing. They're like, did you just try to steal our fucking bucket of Corona? Yeah, you got me. And they didn't fucking kill me. And I don't know if it was because of the fools I was with or because they genuinely just laughed.
Hey, essays, man, you know, people just love to, if you make anybody laugh, man, they'll let you slide.
Yeah.
Even a cop, when, you know, people give cops so much attitude, but like, if you just, I was drunk, it was Super Bowl Sunday, and it was me and my girl in the car, and I ran through a stop sign. And the cop pulled me over, and he was like, do you know why I pulled you over? And usually people lie about why they get pulled over. And I was just like, yeah, because I ran a stop sign. And I could see in his eyes, he was like, oh, shit, like you fessing up? And I was like, yeah, man, I ran a stop sign. He goes, why'd you run a stop sign? He's like, you been drinking? And I was like, no, sir, we were listening to Pharrell's Happy. Remember that song first came out?
Yeah.
Like, I don't care who you were.
It made you feel good.
It made you feel so good. So I didn't even run that stoplight because I was drunk as much as I was just because I was into the song. And I just didn't see me and my girl were singing because I'm happy. And I said that to the cop, and he was like, and I can see him like, yeah, I get it. I was just listening to it too.
He's like, turn it up.
And so of course he gives me like the eye test and all that. And I'm like, dude, I'm an athlete, man. I'm a pass this. And he goes, you been drinking? And I go, no, I'm the DD. And then right then, this is when I was so grateful to be dating a white girl because she was so drunk that she was like, no, I've been drinking, and like almost threw up. And he was like, all right, you're good. And then just like let me go. And I was like, thank you. You saved me. Like I looked so sober compared to her right there. You know, it was
Laughter
perfect.
can save your
It
ass.
saves your
saved
ass.
me from those essays for
man.
sure. And then I don't know if it's white privilege or what, but me and my buddies in high school were shit-faced drunk in eating in his truck, just shoveling Burger King. The cops pull up, and we're like this, you know? And they look at us, and we're just like, you know, and then they just start laughing, and they go, get home safe, boys. But they knew we were stone drunk, just literally shoveling fast food in our mouths at 2 a.m., and they just said, get home safe.
Yeah, man, you gotta laugh. You guys out there in relationships, man, laughter breaks all that tension, man. When you guys are arguing and shit, it's just like, it's the best thing.
Yeah, just call your girl a fart ass.
There you go. Just
okay.
fart. Now,
Did you just call me
now,
fart
if you
ass?
crack a joke and she doesn't laugh, you guys are in trouble.
Yeah, you're in big trouble.
that's when you're like, oh shit, we need therapy or something, you know?
I use laughing as a coping mechanism. I've tried to do this bit on stage, but it never works. But like my family, my mom and aunt have been kicked out of multiple funerals for laughing.
Yeah.
Because they don't know how to deal with it.
Hilarious. Right.
And we laugh.
Right.
And I've been through breakups with girls that I have loved, and I'm laughing. They're like, why are you laughing? And I'm like, I don't know. I love you, but get out.
Yeah.
And it hits me later. Like I'll be devastated later and I'll cry later. But in that horrible moment of when the shit is actually happening, you're at the hospital or the funeral or the breakup, I'm fucking smiling. And they're like, why are you smiling, you sick bastard? They're like, no, I'm going to be devastated. You're just not witnessing that right now.
Are you like you cry privately? Is that your thing?
I
or
cry
what?
privately, most of the time in my home or on the freeway. Something about being in
Oh
my
yeah,
car.
I know, man. In a car.
the fuck?
Oh yo, dude.
That
all my
freeway
stuff,
cry.
yo, man.
Why?
It's something about the car that makes. That's why I think a lot of couples break up on their way to Vegas. It's something about enclosed spaces like elevators, cars, even smaller. Like it just makes you more emotional because you're too aware. I don't know what it is.
That freeway cry, bro.
Dude,
it's hitting me out of nowhere.
I'll be happy going to eat with my mom. Sometimes a song will come on. You be like, oh. Yeah.
Then where the fuck this come from? I was feeling good. Pharrell's Happy was on. I don't know what happened.
There's no warning either. It's not like there's some thoughts and the song and this. It's just boom. And like my dad, same thing. My dad, he passed away a few years ago, and at his funeral is when I met my two older sisters for the first time. So he had like a whole separate family, right? Which I would get into. That's a long story. So I'm at my dad's funeral. They don't know at this time that I'm their brother, right? And so they're up there giving the eulogy. And usually when people give eulogies, they're just like saying these kind words and blah, blah, blah. But both my sisters are up there. And if they're watching, I apologize. But this was just hilarious to me and my mom and my sister. My one sister was like, our dad was such a great man. And then the other sister was like, prayer, prayer, prayer. And then every time she would say something, she was like, and he was amazing and loved by all. Then the other one's like, prayer, prayer. And then she just kept doing this. And I'm like,
Why is she doing
how
that?
is this not hilarious to everybody else? Like, why is she going prayer, prayer, prayer? And I'm trying to hold it in.
Yeah.
And finally, and I do a good job. And we get out to the car, me, my mom, and my sister. And as soon as we get in the car, I'm like, prayer, prayer, prayer. And everybody start dying. I'm like, all right, so I'm not the only psychopath, right? Like, that shit was hilarious. But I didn't cry at his funeral. I didn't even cry when I found out that, he had passed away. I cried like a year or two later in the car, but after I watched Walk the Line with Johnny Cash.
I'm more a week or two later. That's a long.
Yeah,
you held that in a long time.
Here's what happened when he passed away. He was in Chicago, and I had just got to. I was the day before I left for Chicago to perform at Zany's Comedy Club. My mom called me and said, "Bring your black suit. Your dad might not make it throughout the week, right?" So I bring a black suit, and I have shows Tuesday through Sunday, right? 3 shows Saturday. I get in on Tuesday. My dad dies Wednesday. The wake is Friday, funeral Saturday, and then I fly back Monday.
Did you do all your shows?
I did all my shows.
Damn.
And I was featuring.
That's a comic right
so
there.
I'm featuring, right? That's 11
Hang on,
shows.
I gotta go to my dad's funeral real quick. I'll be back by 8 o'clock though. You starting on time? Okay, I'll be here.
So my whole thinking was when I found out that he passed, I was like, if I cry, because I cry, man. Like I'm crying in my voice. I can't speak. I was like, if I cry, it's gonna mess up my voice, and then it'll mess up the show. So I was like, I can't
And
cry.
you're a professional.
I'm a professional. I was like, I can't cry until after the week is done. But by the time Monday rolls around, the initial shock and the pain, like, that's kind of worn off. So, and I was trying to cry. Like, I was like, I'm just going to put on some sad stuff. And I got some bourbon and, like, nothing. And then, a year or two later.
It really comes in waves, and then it hits you.
Get out to that car, man. I sit down, and for an hour, I just lost it, dude.
Yeah.
It got ugly.
You made me so the funerals that my mom and aunt got kicked out of, they're big Mexican ladies, and when they laugh, they go like this. Have I told these stories?
No.
We are silly. We laugh at poo poo caca farts. We're just
Right.
dumb, silly, funny family.
Yeah.
And we get to their aunt's funeral. I didn't know the lady. It's sad, but when you don't know them, it's just sad, normal sad. You're not really hit by it. But they knew her, and they were babysat by her and raised by her. They were close. And we get, and we're front row. My mom and my aunt are front row relatives, not back row, not deep, front fucking row. And the priest starts talking, and he has like a funny voice and a tick. And he has like a lisp or something, and he goes like, huh, huh. And he does something, and my mom and my aunt, and I'm with them too, and they look at each other and they go, oh no. And sure enough, and my Uncle Oscar's there too. He's crazy. Vietnam vet, cut his thumb off on a table saw and drove himself to the hospital.
Gangster.
He's a gangster. He's the man. OG. He just turned 70. Anyways, he's there too. And then they're trying to hold it in, and they're trying to hold it in. And then Uncle Oscar looks at my mom and my aunt, and he goes, huh, huh. And they fucking lose it. You know that church laugh when you're supposed to be quiet, and it makes everything 50 times funnier. And they lose it so much so that they stop the funeral, and the priest goes, I'll let you finish. Go ahead. Like a classroom, And my mom and my aunt and their grandma was there. And then they just go, sorry, we have to go. And they leave the funeral fucking laughing. People think they're insane, but that's just how we roll. And then on a separate funeral, this is a different funeral. I swear to God, I think they've been kicked out of like 4 funerals or had to leave. You know,
Who gets kicked?
They laugh. They laugh. Whenever you're not supposed to laugh,
That's when
they
laugh.
just amplify it. And they're big, funny ladies, you know? So this one, my mom had a Chevy Astro van. And my grandma Kiki, this poor lady, is a Mexican grandma. And she puts her hand on, Chevy Astro vans have the sliding door.
Yeah,
And then the bar right here, my grandma puts her hand right there to get down because she's an old lady. She's like 82, 84, whatever. Old fucking lady. And my mom slams the door on my grandma's hand. And she's like, ah! And so my grandma, this is her other sister, my mom's aunt. You know, Mexicans, how we roll. There's like 8, 9 of us. So she's burying her sister, and her hand is bruised and throbbing, and we don't even know. But it's like, take Grandma Kiki to the hospital, or take her to her sister's funeral. So we'll go to the funeral, and then we'll go to the doctor. And then my mom and my aunt and all of us front row again, and somebody makes the joke. I don't remember what, but my grandma Kiki's crying. Her sister's dead, and somebody makes the joke like, is Grandma Kiki dying because she just lost her sister or because her hand's broken? And then we all just fell out laughing, and same thing. I don't think they stopped the funeral that time, but people had to walk outside for a moment.
Yo, man, you should be able to laugh whenever, like, you can't take life so seriously that, like, there's humor in everything.
Yeah,
dude.
and then I think
Everything.
somebody else, I forgot, my mom told me, but like somebody thought that they were crying hysterically, and they were like, oh, it's okay. And then they realized
that
they were
just
laughing. They just were like, what the fuck? Because it was so maniacal.
That's hysterical, dude.
There's nothing better than that inappropriate laugh.
Absolutely.
When you're not, you know what I mean? Oh man, I love it.
Because if you just
That
look
church
at
fart, you know.
if you just think about your life and like how ridiculous life in general is, like how you can't take anything seriously. No, but the reason why I started my podcast is because of my neck surgery. I was taking these painkillers, and I was like, I could see how people get addicted to these, and then it spirals out. It could spiral out of control so quickly.
So addicted to Oxycontin
Yeah.
for like 5 years. It was
Really?
horrible. It was also amazing, but it was horrible.
Right. Yeah.
felt-
And nobody tells you, no, there's no warning. They just give you like the doctor they just give you the pills.
You can literally get your tooth pulled. They give you a little Vicodin, and if some people get sick, some people fall in love. I fell in love, and then all of a sudden.
Wow.
All of a sudden, little 500 milligram Vicodins turn into 750s. And then you're like, ooh, I want Norcos. I want 1,000 milligrams. Then you get blues and greens. Then you get 80 milligram Oxycontins when they still made them for the fucking men. No, now when I took them, there was 80 milligrams. Wow. 80 milligrams. People were fucking dropping like flies. So, of course, instead of outlawing and banning them, they're like, we'll make them 40 milligrams in time released
and criminalize the whole thing.
and anyways, you literally become a heroin addict overnight by your dentist, and it straight up happened to me. It happened to my friends. It happened to my friends' mothers. Like, because people don't know. They don't know. It looks like a Tylenol.
It looks like a little Skittle. Or,
Oxycontin
it's
is
candy.
synthetic heroin, and it will ruin your fucking life. But in the process, you're going to feel goddamn good while your home burns down and your family leaves you. Listen to his podcast.
It's called Before You Kill Yourself. That's the name of the podcast.
It's a brutal title.
Well, because there's it's really how people think. It's like when people are in that place, it's like they completely forget all the things that they love in life, like plants, friends, all the good things, in like these brief seconds, and they make this decision that now is going to be forever. And it's like, hold on, before you kill yourself,
go get a puppy. Go get a plant.
Think
random
about
acts
all
of
the
kindness
things that you love. Yeah, man.
I've heard
Volunteer.
several stories.
Absolutely.
I think it was Tony Robbins' interview by Louise Howe, The Power of Greatness, plugging other people's podcasts, even though they don't need any help and they're millionaires. But Tony Robbins said random acts of kindness because he was talking about, I believe it was the assassination attempt it was either Nixon or Reagan. Maybe it was Reagan. Anyways, doesn't matter. But the guy that wanted to kill the president just to be famous, that's it. He didn't even really hate him. He just wanted to build a name. And he said the initial assassination attempt, he went to go shoot the president, and he bumped a lady, or a lady bumped him, and she was so nice and sweet and apologetic about it. She was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean, did I hurt you? Whatever." That her act of kindness made him go, I can't shoot the president in front of this lady. He just met her. It was a 5-second moment of random act of kindness. He later went on to shoot the president and went to prison, but he did.
He later, like you said it like it was a happy ending. He later went on to Stanford and then Harvard and got his PhD.
But I'm just saying, in that brief, I know maybe I shouldn't have highlighted it that way.
He later went on.
I told you.
He still did it.
He later went on to dump a body.
He got married, had kids. Yeah.
But that random act of kindness, so, if you are down in the dumps, go help an old lady cross the street, go sweep up her fucking yard and make her happy or whatever. Go clean somebody who can't walk, like fucking bone neck Leo Flowers over. I'm just saying, go do something good. Listen to his podcast, and maybe it'll pull you out, and hopefully permanently, but if not temporarily, it'll get you out of that horrible state of mind.
Absolutely,
Get some goddamn plans.
Thank you guys for tuning in.
It. Leo Flowers, check out his podcast, check out his comedy, funny as fuck. Yeah, thank you for listening, liking, and subscribing to my podcast. I love you all. Thank you very much. Peace.